Joining us for a reaction is James Judge, team lead with Project Dynamo, one of those nonprofits currently on the ground in North Carolina conducting private rescue missions. James, welcome back to the program. I remember when you guys were in, you were conducting private rescue missions out of Afghanistan, probably like the moment that withdrawal started creating problems for American citizens on the ground. I'm glad to see that the mission continues.
Thank you, Chanel. Thank you for having us back on. Yeah, it's certainly we don't like to see the tragedy that evolves here and what has happened and led us here. It brings a tear to your eye when you hear what that mother was saying about her son and the last words out of his mouth. Um, it's just terrible, and the destruction that we've seen is awful. But as you mentioned, Project Dynamo was stood up following the failed pullout from Afghanistan, and we immediately started rescuing people from Afghanistan, and that followed up with Ukraine. We conducted some of the very first rescues out of Ukraine and have successfully rescued about 3,000 people out of Ukraine. And then it went on from there. And typically it used to be that you carried an American passport. You could depend that the American government was coming to get you in a foreign country, and you certainly expect the American
Right.
government to get you in the United States of America. But following
Yes.
Hurricane Ian, we were one of the first, the very first rescue operations. The Coast Guard base down there was wiped out in the storm, and we saw down in Hurricane Ian, we saw more aircraft in the air when Biden was visiting at the time to do an overview than we did search and rescue aircraft that day. And when we went to put up our drones on day one here, there was a temporary flight restriction in place because of Air Force One landing. So there were several hours that we weren't able to fly the infrared drone. But since getting here, we've launched search and rescue operations using specialized off-road vehicle like the one you see behind me. We also have a team of horseback riders. We brought 7 horses up from Florida after dealing with our own impacts of Hurricane Helene. And so far, our effort has been to conduct search and rescue operations, deliver supplies, relief supplies into areas that are hardest hit where you can't get with a normal vehicle, where the roads are washed out. We're riding supplies in on horseback. We brought in baby formula and food and MREs and water, really just trying to help these people that are in dire need. It's going to be months, if not years, before any of this looks normal again. And it goes on and on and on for
Yeah.
miles. We started yesterday with operations down in Rutherford County, and we just transited because of a request from the Emergency Operations Center here in Yancey County, where they've assigned us a new search and rescue area of responsibility. So you're seeing on your screen now just some of the crazy terrain that we've had to navigate when the road was knocked out and getting through some pretty wild places. So.
No, it's the scale of this is very hard to convey, I think, to the average viewer, unless you're there on the ground. And the devastation at that scale is just, it's really, really hard to imagine how this is going to be rebuilt. It's going to take a lot of resources, a lot of displaced homes and families, and the problem that we're seeing. You mentioned just now that there was a temporary restriction on drones, but we showed in the segment too. There was a statement from Pete Buttigieg where initially they put this ban generally over the overall area, and it was not because of just Air Force One landing. They used that as an excuse later on. But it's stunning what the federal government is reportedly doing in contrary actions to what guys like you are trying to do out there. There are reports from social media, and you can confirm this perhaps, that some of the private rescue missions that were going out at the very beginning were being told to turn around and go and leave the area by FEMA. What do you know about blockades in private missions so far?
We've heard some of those same reports that there were some helicopters in to get some people out. But since we've gotten here, I can't tell you whether or not that's happened. What we've done, we don't really pay attention to that. We just go and help the people that are in need. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are in need. There are hundreds of thousands without power currently. Mountain after mountain after mountain has been destruction where roads have been washed out and people are stuck. There is a need for rescues, and that's what Project Dynamo is here to do. A lot of the folks that are worried about the politics of it, they can talk about that, but our main focus is here to do search and rescue operations to get people out where they if they're trapped, we're going to get them out. If they're If they're in need of supplies, we're going to bring supplies to them, and we're going to do that as long as we're needed here. So, if anybody wants to help, it's Project
what is the
Dynamo, and it's
number
Project.
one need right now?
I think that on the ground here, we're seeing, and luckily there's been so much donated from. We get a lot of requests for baby formula, MREs, water,
Okay.
fuel, of course. But that some of that stuff is starting to come back online on the outer cities. It's getting to the people that are trapped on these mountains. And it took us 4
Right.
hours yesterday to transit about 30 miles just to get to one location. It was a 4-hour commute that normally would have taken about 45 minutes because we had to cut our way through fallen trees that were laying down across power lines and laying down across the road. We were trying to get horse trailers through because we knew that the road was washed out once we got there. We'd insert the horses and go in on horseback for another 2 miles to get to the people that were trapped on top of those mountains. So, those are the kind of needs that we're seeing is food and water and those supplies. But fortunately, everybody around here, I mean, the locals, we're seeing law enforcement from the state of Florida, from Vermont, from all over the country has come here.
Wow.
State and local officials have been fantastic in this effort. And, it's good to see Tim Kennedy out here and his organization. They do great stuff, just like Project Dynamo. So we're all a team working together out here trying to help people, and that's our main focus and our main priority. If anybody wants to help, they can go to projectdynamo.net. They can contribute there. If they have a missing loved one, please visit projectdynamo.net. Let us know. There's a place to fill out a form where you can request an evacuation, and we'll come and get you. So, those are the things I would encourage the audience if they're looking for any way to help. Projectdynamo.net, and you can register to get your loved one out, or you can also help and contribute and join in on the effort to save these people.
This is such a monumental task, and it's so refreshing to see that there are groups like yours out there on the ground supplementing the local efforts out there. So, James Judge,
Yeah, well,
Project Dynamo, good. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of us should know, as former service members, I'm Coast Guard. The CEO is former Army. We have Navy. We've got Marines. We've got Air Force. We had another Army gentleman ride with us. We have an Army drone pilot out here who's flying infrared drones. We feel this is a duty, right? There's a total purpose behind this to go and help out our fellow Americans that are trapped. That's something that we feel like we need to do. And if the government's not going to do it, we'll step up and do it. Local and state folks are helping. That's fantastic. But there's a massive need here. And I would just say, the best way that people can help is certainly by donating.
And that's the heart of this whole conversation, the fact that there are private groups that are having to step up to the plate because this government does not seem able to handle a task like this when it's supposed to. A very sad story, but we're glad you guys are out there. James Judge, thank you.